What's happening? James Ginsburg is here. So is Angela Giles.
Hi, everyone. We're excited today. We're going to be talking about your messaging. But before you actually do your messaging for your brand, what is the thing that everybody loves doing or they think is such a novel concept, Jean?
Well, I don't know if people actually love doing this because every time I engage with a new entrepreneur, whenever I say to do market research, it's like it's just such a novel idea, which it's not a novel idea. And big corporations do this all the time. They need to go out and make sure that they understand what the marketplace is doing before they can put out a product or a service out there. So it is not a novel idea, but I think a lot of times entrepreneurs miss this, and it is a very, very, very critical point in creating your brand and creating your messaging is doing your market research. So do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So I think your market research, I absolutely 100% agree with that. But I think sometimes people, when you're a brand new entrepreneur, don't even think about doing market research. It's just something, it doesn't cross your mind, right? So there's two parts to market research that I personally teach in my course, Simple Profit Online course. And that is, one, you need to do market research on your competition. So go out there and research, what is the program they're offering? How do they package it up? Look at their bonuses. Look at their satisfaction, money back guarantees, all of that, their price points. That's really important. So research your competition. And then the second thing is research your ideal client. So I think that your ideal client, you may have this like idea of, oh, I want this perfect person. Like if you think about it like on a dartboard, the bullseye is like your ideal client. But the real truth of it is you're going to serve people that are like in the circles around the bullseye as well. So in order to really understand your ideal client, you have to like do what we call market research. And I'm not just saying like put a survey out to your list or survey people. I'm actually saying like hold 5 or 10 conversations with people that you think are your ideal clients in that bullseye if you can, and ask them pertinent questions about their demographics, who they are, what age, what they like to read, what they like to buy as it relates to your product or brand that you're coming out with. What television shows do they watch? What programs have they purchased in the past? What kind of money have they purchased to invest in themselves for whatever the thing is that you're selling? Like all of this stuff, ask their biggest problems. What keeps them awake at night? What are the things they want? Like all of that, and dig deep, and then look for commonalities amongst the answers. Another thing, and I'm going to share this tip with you, and then Jen, I'm sure you have some stuff to share that I always tell people to do, and this is fun, is go on Amazon and look at books, that are top sellers in your niche, right? And then look at the reviews and see what people are saying. Often you'll find people will say, oh my gosh, I love this book and it helped me with XYZ, right? And when you see that, grab that language, like start a swipe file where you're keeping track of all this language, and that's your ideal client's language. And that's the language you'll use along with the common things that you'll find as you're interviewing these people. Those are the phrases that you'll put in your swipe file, and those are the phrases that you'll use in your marketing and when either written or like Facebook Lives or whatever that looks like for you. So those are some of the high level things I teach. Of course, like I have a whole system, and I'm sure Jean does too, but that's the point. Those are the things you need to do before you ever even, create a product. And if you've already created a product, then I say go do market research at least 3 times a year so you can stay on top of what's going on with your ideal clients.
Absolutely. I think those are really great points. So definitely anybody who's listening, please make sure to take notice of those points.
Yes.
But I also wanted to share, the way Angela and I met were through a mastermind, I don't know, about a year and a half ago or so. And part of the mastermind, I don't know if you did this part, Angela, but I did this when I was part of the mastermind, is that there was a course that you had to take as part of the mastermind,
yes,
the main course, and part of digital course. And part of the course was a very in-depth market research study that you did, so it was your customer avatar, but also your competitors, you know,
Mhm.
who are your competitors? And it was very in depth, and I can kind of go through a couple of the
Yeah.
points, but like, for example, you know, when doing your competitive research, like find, of course, your competitors, find their product or service that is in competition with yours. And then, I mean, I had this huge giant
Spreadsheet.
spreadsheet, yeah, a Google spreadsheet that I was using, and it was like, what, you know, it was very, very specific about the things that you had to put into the spreadsheet, and it was very in depth. Like, for example, it's like, you know, what are they offering? Like, what is their message?
Mhm.
Like, what is,
Mhm.
you know, what is the before and after for, you know, their end user? So like, if you take this course, you know, now you know, would be terrible at relationships, and after you take this course, you'd be great at relationships. You know, what is the price? What is the bonuses that they're offering? You know, what is, you know, their typical call?
Everything.
Like, yeah, it's like, it was very good and very in depth. So
Do
that
you
was
s-
something.
do
What's
you
that?
still have that spreadsheet by any chance?
I do, yeah. I still have that spreadsheet. I mean, it's populated with all of my stuff, but I mean, I can probably create just remove all of my stuff from
Yeah.
there and we'll have people. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I'm happy to share that spreadsheet with you, and I'll just remove you know, my stuff, but you can
Right.
just populate it. But yeah, it was extremely, extremely to the point and very in depth, because I see this happening all the time, and this is a big mistake that I see entrepreneurs make. They're like, "Oh my God, I have an awesome product, I have an awesome service. Like, let's go out, let's, you know, put it out there in front of all of my audiences, and like, let's start making money." This is not how it works. Big corporations don't do that. They actually do their research very methodically. They ask people. They have like, you know, what are these? Research groups or topic groups, or what are
Yeah.
those things
Oh,
called?
I know what you're talking.
Focus groups, yeah.
Focus
Focus,
groups.
focus
So
groups, yeah.
So, Jean, you know, I think one of the things too, I agree with you on all of that, that the research has to be done. And one of the things that I have encountered is resistance to doing market research. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you a story. And I think this bears, even if we go a little longer today, because I think this topic is so important. I had a client several years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and she was she helped parents with difficult preteens and teens, like with behavior and how to fix things and blah, blah, blah. And she had put together this whole course. And when she came to me, she's like, well, I need to know how to market. And I said, well, did you do your market research? Well, what is that? And I told her. She absolutely did not want to do it, was in absolute denial. And she's like, I'm the expert. I know my people. And I said, yes, you're your expert. But here's the thing. The world is changing so fast right now with technology and viewpoints and things. And we've experienced that recently. And so, you know, things are being brought to the surface. So people change. And as you grow in your business, your ideal client may change. So I told her, I'm like, you have to do market research at least 4 times a year, right? Like once a quarter, go do market research. So I finally convinced her to go do it. Long story short, she came back to me and she's like, you know what? You were right. I started doing market research, and yes, a lot of the things I knew, but there were some things people wanted that aren't even in my course. And I said, exactly. So what we did is we created 2 bonus modules for her course and added them in. So it addressed the main point that people were bringing up that she hadn't even thought about, because it was so basic to her. You know how sometimes you get blind spots in your business? It was so basic to her. She didn't even realize that, oh, that's a thing. And you know, that's what I'm saying, because what we may think is so basic, other people are like, well, wow, well, this new technology came out. How do I deal with it? Like in her case, all these things. So I think that it's important that if you've already started a business, you've already put product out to the market space, that you look back and say, okay, it's time to do market research again, because things have shifted. We're not saying you're not an expert in your field. I'm sure you're amazing at what you do, but that doesn't mean that you may not know every little thing that's coming up for your people, because things are shifting so fast all the time. I mean, I find that for myself, even with social media, something new comes up and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even see that. Right. You know what I mean?
And I actually do want to say one thing. So it has less to do with being an expert. Yes, of course, we're all experts, and you know,
Yeah.
this person that this client that you had was an expert, let's say, in, you know, teenage behavioral issues. But the other thing is that it's not just about the topic itself. It's also about how this program is presented. So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
maybe before, you know, they were doing workshops, but now you can't do workshops and you have to do everything online. So maybe, you know, maybe the market research was doing hey, what is my competition doing out there in terms of like, how are they presenting this? Are they doing this as a course? Are they doing it as a virtual webinar? Are they doing it, as calls? There's many, it's not just about the actual specific topics itself of like, teenage behavioral problems. It's actually also about like, how is it presented to the parents or to the teenager? So it's a much bigger and global understanding of the competition, because we have to think about like, and competition might not necessarily even be directly like your competitor. It also is thinking about like, what is the wallet share, right? So, maybe you are a relationship expert, and you have a course about how to not be single or something like that. But single people might be looking for other products that might become like similar in the space. So it's not just about the topics themselves specifically. It's also about the wallet share of like, is your ideal target market going after similar or complementary products that they're also spending money on? So that's something also to consider quite a bit.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I find that all the time, and even because I do a lot of blogging, so I hear you loud and clear there. So I think the thing that is the big takeaway here is that things shift so fast. We found that with COVID. We found that with other things in our space right now. So it's super important for you to keep your finger on the pulse on not only the topic, but how is it being presented? How are people reacting to the topic? Things shift so rapidly. It's super important for you to constantly do market research and do it. I always say either do it in person or on a phone call or a Skype call, like actually sit and look at the person and ask the questions. I think that's really imperative because you can get a lot more out of it than just sending like a survey and people answer. It's just different. You get more in-depth info.
Because when you send a survey, it's, they know that it's a survey, so they can always kind of make those responses whatever they want, just to kind of whatever, for just whatever reasons, people always do that. But if you actually get on a call with people and ask them like, what are their challenges, what is keeping you up at night, then it's a much different conversation than sending out a survey. And surveys, they're maybe 10% of respondents respond to surveys, so it's not as effective maybe as it used to be at one point.
I agree. I totally agree. All right. Well, Jean, if you have time to post that document after you take out all your data, I think that would be amazing. Please post it in our group. And I know there's other people watching this, but we do have our amazing community, women, digital marketing and tech for women entrepreneurs. We'll be posting that in there. And if you're not in that group, please join us. And if you don't want to join, just reach out to Jean or I, and we'll make sure we'll get you that document.
Yep, and I'm just going to post in the comments link to group, which is digital marketing. And any last words before we wrap up?
I just think that you should go out and do your market research. It will help you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, don't forget about that. This is a big point, and something that, and I would say, just last thing before we wrap up is, a lot of times entrepreneurs create the product and then do the market research later. I would not recommend that. If you are just getting started, or if you're just thinking about a product, do your market research first and then create the product based on the market research. Don't do it the other way around. I see this happening like 99% of the time. Entrepreneurs get this wrong. Create the product based on the feedback and on the market research that you've already done. Don't try to do it the other way around, because then you have to go back and change your product. And if you think about it, if it's a physical product, you have to go and change a lot of things and spend a lot of money. Even if it's a digital product, you still have to go like re-record videos and recreate stuff and, change out your funnel and things like that. So make sure to do your research first.
Absolutely.
The one thing. Okay. Awesome. I included the link to our group, so I hope you guys join us. If you are a woman entrepreneur, we'd love to have you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next Facebook Live every day. Well, not every day, sorry, Monday through Friday. we get the weekends off. Monday through Friday, we are here, and we talk all about digital marketing, social media, entrepreneurship, and technology.
11 a.m. Pacific, 12 Mountain Standard Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
All right.